Hello, hello. It is Erica with Holy Rustic, and we are here today to paint up an Easter outfit for our interchangeable goose. So this is our very naked interchangeable goose set. I did this as a BOGO last year during around the 4th of July. So she had a cute little 4th of July outfit. We have different outfits for her on our website. Christmas, there's a winter outfit, Valentine's Day, St. Patty's Day, all the seasons. So today we're going to do a quick Easter set for her. So I'm going to set her over to the side and whoop, we're going to paint up this Easter set. So this set has a cute little hat with some bunny ears. It has, of course, some Easter eggs, a fun little chick, and then the sign that goes on the post says extra goosey, which I just love. So I'm going to switch the cameras around here so you can see what's on our table, and we're going to get painting. I'm going to start with this extra goosey sign, and we're going to do the back of this sign in just a nice soft brown color. So let me know in the comments if you have one of these geese from our website and what outfit your goose is currently wearing. I will say that mine kept her 4th of July outfit on for way longer than she needed to. I did not change her out until just recently when I got a St. Patty's Day outfit together for her. That is the unfortunate part of being the one who always has to paint all the things, and sometimes I don't get to decorate my house quite as much as I want to. So let me know if you have a goose and what yours is wearing. I also have a porch goose. I will say she has been really good about getting her clothes changed, and it is currently wearing a cute little St. Patty's Day outfit. I do not keep it on our porch. She sits on our mantle right now. I need to get some sand to put in her butt, for lack of a better word, so that she doesn't blow away in the wind, but I have not done that yet. So she's an inside goose right now. Her name is Goosenda. So are you a porch goose person? I just love the porch geese. They're so cute. All right, I'm going to do this extra goosey in kind of a fun teal color, just a nice springy color. All of our kits do include a makeup sponge that you can use to paint up your pieces. You're going to use the rectangle end of the sponge, and I always just dip it into my paint and then I offload over on the side. So I just kind of tap over on the side to get some of that excess paint off, so I'm not coming over here onto these little words with tons of paint on my sponge. Because if you do come over here with a lot of paint on your sponge, what's going to happen is you're going to push a bunch of paint down into those little grooves, which is what we're trying to avoid doing, and that's why we use the sponge instead of a paintbrush. It just gives us a nice clean look. I'm going to come back and do a second coat because I do want this to be nice and bright. You may have noticed I added just a tiny bit of white in here just to brighten that up a little bit. So fun. I suppose I should name this goose. I haven't named her. I did name, like I said, my porch is Goose. I don't know if I said it. Her name is Goosenda, but I haven't named this little wooden goose, so maybe she needs a name. You should drop some names in the comments and let me know what you think, or let me know what your goose's name is. I know it's a whole thing. It's so funny because some of my friends are like, I can't believe those are back in style. But I love them. I think they're so fun. Life's so crazy sometimes. It's nice to have just a little fun. Something not so serious. All right, I'm picking up just a little bit of blue in here with that teal because somehow I grabbed some red and I'm just trying to cover that up. Okay, so we've got our teal and our blue, and we're just going to go ahead and glue that down so it can start to dry. All of our kits include a craft glue, and we'll go over that here in a bit when we go over how to glue things. But I want to glue this down just so that it will start to dry for me while we're painting up the rest of our pieces. So we have extra goosey. one. All right. And we'll set that to the side and let that dry. Well, let's work on her hat. I think we'll do this in that same kind of bluish color. It's just kind of a bluish purple color. Inside your kit, you're going to get an inspiration photo and some very basic directions that basically just say, hey, paint all your pieces and then glue them all together. We don't have step-by-step directions with our kits. We do have over a thousand kits on the website, y'all. And so it would be really hard for me to have step-by-step directions for each individual kit. So I like to do these videos so you can kind of see different kits. Of course, there's not a video for every single kit, but we do have some for some of the different kits. And then once you've done a couple of these, you'll find that they're pretty easy to put together. There's nothing too terribly complicated about any of them. It is pretty much, you paint the pieces, you glue them together. Sometimes there's a trick to gluing some of the pieces together, but for the most part, it should be pretty easy peasy. I'm gonna start working on these eggs while I've got this blue on my brush. So I'm going to just do one of these eggs in this pretty blue color. So the great thing about the inspiration photo is it gives you some ideas of how you could paint your kit, but you do not have to follow the inspiration photo. We're going to send you paint that's going to match the picture, but you can do whatever you want. Switch it up, make it your own, use your favorite colors, use the colors that go with your house. Whatever you want to do. You know, maybe there's pink in the picture and you are really not a pink person. You can make that your own however you want. You certainly do not have to paint it like the picture. I'm going to grab a new sponge and just kind of clip that end off. I need to paint our little bunny ears with the white. So we're just going to give this a coat of white. I apologize, y'all. I know that tapping on this table is real annoying. I try to hold these down as best as I can while I'm painting without my fingers getting in the way so you can see what we're doing, so that we don't have that clacky sound so much. All right, and then we've got, we need to do the egg that our little chick is sitting in. We need to do that piece as well. So fun. All right. So these are going to paint up really fast and easy. You can get as crazy as you want with the shadows and the highlights. Or if you're somebody who is a busy mom and you're like, I just needed 15 minutes to myself and I don't have time to sit here and be super fussy with this, it's going to look just as cute if you don't, you know, have the time to do all the fun little extra pieces. You don't have to do all the shadows and the highlights. That's always just a little extra step and totally is not going to make or break if you don't do that. Anybody who comes into your home and sees this setting up isn't going to know what mine looked like or what anyone else's looked like. And so they're just going to be seeing yours and it's going to look really cute. So yours can look however you want. All right, so I did the eggshell for the chick and the bunny ears. We need to paint this little chick cute little yellow color. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab yellow while I've got this sponge. I am not worried about the nose or the eyes or any of that because we're going to paint all of those in. And then down there at the bottom is where that little eggshell goes. Now yellow is pretty transparent, so it's definitely going to need 2 coats. So I'm going to give this a quick dry and we'll come in with a second coat. And you know what, while we've got this yellow, let's just do one of these eggs for the eggs that go in the basket. We're going to do one of those with the yellow as well, the overlay. So there's 3 eggs here and they each have a little overlay that goes on them, a little 3D piece that just makes them cute. All right, I'm adding a little bit of white to my yellow because that was looking a little bright for kind of a baby chick yellow in my opinion. So I just grabbed a smidge of white just to tone that down a smidge. And we'll go back over this one as well. Cute. Okay, let's see, what do we need to do? We need to do our little chick's beak in some orange. It's a very tiny little beak. Quick dry. And we'll go back over it. Okay. And then let's work on these eggs some more. You can do these whatever color you want. The inspiration photo has them pretty much like pinks and greens. I wanted them to be a little more colorful than that. So I'm going to do a nice light pink. So I've got some red here, so I'm just going to mix up a pink rather than getting out another color. I'm going to paint this middle egg pink. I just want some fun pastel Easter colors here. And we're going to need a pink for our bunny's ears anyway, so. I like that. All right, let's do the pink inside the ears. I need a smaller brush. All right. This little pink inside these little bunny ears. There's little etched lines here that you probably can't see on the camera, but they're showing me where to paint the insides of the ears. So if you're nervous about that, don't stress, because that is why those lines are there. Always say this is fun, stress-free painting. The point of our kits and our paint classes, really the point of our whole business is to just remind you that it's okay to slow down and take a little time for yourself and be creative. It's so important for your soul and your body, for your mind, to just be creative. And so just the act of taking a few minutes to paint something or create something is just, it's good for you. It's good for your brain. Okay, I kind of mixed up a little bit of a corally color, and I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to do this last little egg in this kind of a corally color. So I just took my pink and a little bit of my orange and kind of mixed it together. And we're going to make this egg that color. So it's a little bit of red, a little bit of orange, and some white. And we're just making kind of a coral. You can do these in whatever color you want. Don't overcomplicate it. If mixing colors is going to stress you out, then just use the color straight from the bottle. I had these on my plate here, and so we're just going to use them up. I'm going to give that a dry and come back in with a second coat. And then we've got these two little pieces. We need to decide what colors we want to do those. So we'll dry this so we can see what we've got and where we're going to put what. Okay, there's that. Okay, so this one goes over top of the pink egg. This one goes on the blue egg. And then I've got this yellow that we already did, which is going to go on that coral, which is going to look really cute. So I need to decide what color I want to do over top the pink. And I think I will do that teal that we used earlier, just so we can pull that color in. I think that will be fun. So we're going to do this with that kind of bright tealy color. I had a St. Patty's Day rainbow that I was painting earlier, so I've got all these bright rainbowy colors on my plate, which is why we're just using those up instead of getting out new paint. All right, so that's not super teal, but I love it nonetheless. That's going to go right there. So on this blue one, we have yellow. Oh, we have that tealy color. So I need to decide what to put here. Maybe we do a soft orange. Let's see. If we could do a little bit of white and a little bit of orange. and make a nice pale orange. Whoop. Okay. And we'll give that a dry and we'll do a second coat. It's pretty close to my yellow on the camera, but in real life, it's definitely more orange. There we go. I like that. That looks nice. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of this orange and just come around the outside of my chick just for some fun little variation in the color up here on his little head. And I think we're ready to glue our pieces together. So, whoops, sorry, I hit the microphone with my hand. I killed the microphone on my phone somehow. And so now I have to have this little desk mic over here. And I keep forgetting that it's there. I accidentally smack it. All right, so this is her hat. So we're just gluing that top piece of the hat down, and then the bunny ears go right here on the band of the hat. Like so. Just a nice little sandwich there. Oh, and I told you we would go back over the glue rules, so let's do that too. This is a little top heavy, so you probably have to hold it for just a moment while that glue starts to set. So that'll be there. Okay, so inside your kit, you're going to get a tube of craft glue. It's going to be B7000, E6000, something like this. This is the glue that we send you. It just depends upon what's available from our suppliers as to what we're sending you. But they all act the same. It is not a quick dry glue. You have some time to be able to move your pieces around. It does dry clear, so that's a plus. If you get a little excess glue, it's going to be just fine. And then you just want to make sure you let everything lay flat for 24 hours so that it dries completely. Because like I said, it is not a quick dry glue. It does take some time for it to set. But the great thing about that glue versus like a hot glue is that it is permanent. So if those pieces, once they're dry, they're not coming back up. So that's how we like to use that. I also do love the wiggle time. So versus using like a super glue, I've got a little time to move my pieces around if need be, and it's not quite as harsh on my fingers as super glue is. I hate getting super glue on my fingers. So that's why we use those kinds of glues. I just have this is a refillable bottle of craft glue that I use here on my desk, and it just, that way I'm not wasting those little tubes of glue because they're kind of expensive, but you just need a tiny bit of glue. That little bottle will do several kits before it runs out completely. So I know it doesn't seem like a lot of glue, but I promise you it's way more glue than you even need for this kit. All right, we've got our little chick's nose and our little eggshell. So cute. I am so ready for spring. All right, there he is. Oh, and we got to paint in his eyeballs. So I will just use the bottom of my paintbrush, the handle end. I'll dip it into my black, and then we'll come over here and do our eyeballs. Maybe my black paint's a little goopy. Let's do this. I'm gonna put a little water in it because it's been sitting here for a few minutes. All right, and we'll brush these in. You could also use a paint pen if you have one of those, or a Sharpie works even. You have to be careful with using Sharpies because they are harder to cover up if you make a mistake. A lot of times it's nearly impossible to cover up Sharpie if you do for some reason need to cover it up, but paint pens work really well as well. These are some of my favorite paint pens. They're called Grabby acrylic markers, and these are really thin. It's an extra fine tip, 0.7 millimeters. You can also get like Posca pens, but I like to use these for my little details. I keep these in black and white. You can buy a whole set with all kinds of fun colors in it, but I mainly use black and white, so I keep these in the black and white, so I have extras in case I want to do some fun little details. It's just a little bit easier than trying to do it with a brush. You have a little more control. Most of us are used to using a pencil or a pen way more than we are a paintbrush. So you can come in and do, you know, some fun little dots and lines on your letters if you want. But like I said, this is the part that, you know, if you don't have a ton of time and this is not something you want to spend your time on, then this is not a necessary step. It's not going to make or break your piece if you don't do all these little extra details. It's like the shadows and the highlights. A lot of times they don't really make that much of a difference to people who are looking at your painting. So you do what works for you, and don't feel like you have to do every little step. All right, so there's all of our little eggs, our little extra goosey sign, our little bunny ears. So fun. I'm going to just put just a few little swipes and swoops. I always tell people to don't overthink this part. You put these lines wherever makes your heart happy. The point is that they are just here to kind of draw your eye around and make things a little more interesting to your eyes as you're looking at things. So you don't have to really think about, okay, which direction is the light coming from? Where am I putting highlights? These are just to be more interesting. It's not technical, okay? All right, we need to put, so in your kit for your goose, you're going to have these 2 rectangle pieces. These are important. Do not throw these away. These go on the back of this piece to hold it onto the signpost. So this piece comes with your original goose kit. And you do not get a new one of these with every single kit. This just sets on here using these 2 rectangles. So I just kind of set these down on my table up against one of these rails here, so I know how far apart to space them. And it doesn't have to be exact. And we're just going to put a little glue. Boop, boop. And then we're just going to kind of position those in the center of that sign. And I'm going to give this a quick dry. You may notice I have some extra lines on the back of my pieces. I had some wood that didn't get cut on the laser correctly the first time. So this is scrap wood that I used for my personal kit. Your kit won't have that on the back. But since it's for me, I wasn't stressing about it. I'm giving this a dry just so I can show you what it looks like when we put it together. Remember, if you're doing this at home, you're going to just let everything lay flat. You're going to walk away and let all of this lay flat for 24 hours before you go setting it up inside your goose. I just want to be able to show you what it looks like. So I'm trying to dry it real quick so that I can show you how it looks, okay? So I know I can get that glue to set up just a little bit better. All right, so here's our goose. Let's come up this way. There we go. Here's our little goose, and here's the little stand. This just goes back here. Okay. So this is the base goose kit. You have the goose, you have the little basket, and you have the little sign holder. And if you need to be able to see how to put this together, you can check out the YouTube channel, and there is a video of how to assemble the goose. So we want to look at that. If we're going to put her little hat on, just like that. Oh my goodness, this one's so cute. And then the little chick goes right here. These little eggs go in this basket. Cute. And then this piece just goes right there. There we go. As I say, I got those a little close together. It's okay. They can still move. There we go. And just set right there. If you have trouble, I never have any trouble with this piece falling off once I'm just leaving it on the shelf to set. But if you have trouble with it, you could always put a little piece of tape here on the back. I usually don't have any issues with it once I'm not messing with it. You know, if I'm sitting here messing with it, moving it around, sometimes it's a little unstable. But once I'm done and it's just there, it's usually not a big deal. But if you do have trouble, you could always, just a little piece of tape would work as well. So there she is, extra goosey. So cute and all ready for Easter. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you paint up this goose kit, I would love to see a picture of your extra goosey goose for Easter. You can post a picture in our craft kits group on our website or on our Facebook page. It's Holy Rustic Craft Kits. And then you can find all the goose inserts on our website at holyrustic.com. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to y'all real soon. Bye, y'all.